Hello Factorio people, Fenton here. Let me get you up to speed with what I was doing off camera. I did do the blue science as I said I would. I doubled it up, 24 assemblers, direct insertion of electric engine units just for simplicity. It's basically the same build as this, so that the intermediate product can be directly inserted, and the other two that we have on the bus already, the red circuits and the sulfur, just goes straight in. And so then I moved the labs over, and I've been ploughing through with the research. So let's just tick that off again. Astute amongst you will notice that there's productivity modules in these, and I will go and explain that shortly. What I wanted to show you really was this interesting little problem, I suppose you could call it, with the design. So that's very quick. With the design of the solar grid square. The problem is that this has a build line up to here, and this substation and this substation actually don't reach this roboport. This will only get power here when this one is placed, but this one won't get placed on its own because it's outside of the range of the next closest powered roboport, which is there. And as such, when I put a grid square down, it only went this far, because that is the range of these roboports here. So that's interesting. It's a simple fix, as far as I can see, and I've turned my own roboports off here, just my own robots off here, so I can show you. This fix is just to change the design slightly and just have, whoops, not that. That's exactly how it was. Have this substation here and this accumulator here instead. Just bringing forward the power. So like this is now just about in the range of this. As we can see somewhere. There he is. There he is. He's coming. Which is, you know, kind of annoying, I suppose, because I have to now change either all of them or just the new ones, and then I have to change the blueprint and so on. Wow, that was fast as well. But that's something I will just do. So yeah, and I'm expanding solar basically. I bit the bullet and I rehooked this back up because I wanted to just milk everything in the base. You know, I wanted this to be gone. This copper patch is basically dead, so I just hooked this one up really quickly and just dragged it down with a belt because I want copper to continue to be produced so that I can just get some stuff on the bottom here. So like, as I say, I'm making level 1 productivity modules, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Substations are made here, roboports are made here, and obviously I want as many accumulators and solar panels as I can get. I'm also just stockpiling purple circuits or blue circuits or processing units, just so that I can, you know, get the most out of all of the resources we've got over here. And now that's done. There's also a weird thing here. It's not really weird, it's just how the game works, I suppose. If I bring this one in, then only this one will be powered along these lines, which is totally fine. That's totally acceptable. There's non-uniformity here with some of these grid squares, and that is because this research is so quick. That is because a power pole can only actually have up to 4 outbound wire connections. So, oops, so this one here, for example, this one is spent, which is why this isn't connecting to this, even though it's in range. This one is. Well, this one has 5. What's going on there? Does that have 5, or am I? How has that happened? It doesn't have 5. It will be a graphical glitch. It will be that, like, this one or something is attached to... I zoomed in there and I don't know why. The research, it can't be stopped. There's definitely no way that's actually happened. And if it has, that's a bug. They should only be able to have 4 outbound connections, as I will demonstrate to you. What do you mean can't reach? What are you talking about? I'm stood right there. So like this one in here in the middle is not connecting to everything. And if I actually make some copper cable, please excuse my mess of an inventory here. If I actually make some copper cable, it should tell me that it can't be done. Alright, so far so good. Have I just completely lied about the 4 things? Is that just incorrect? Did that used to be a thing and now it's no longer a thing? Max of 5 connections reached. Okay, have I just learnt something here? That one was already connected. So was that. It just makes more sense to just now put a fresh one down. 5? Where did I get 4 from? It's possible 4 is like Satisfactory or Dyson Sphere Program or something else, and I've just conflated those two. Alright, it's 5. So my point still stands. The reason some of these wires are not connecting is because there's a maximum of 5, and the way that it builds, it puts the wires down in the order that they're built, unless the blueprint is otherwise specified. So like, you can see the ones that I was experimenting with or put down first or whatever. So power cables should be respected as part of the blueprint. Should be. Right, what's the problem here then? I've run out of cliff explosives and solar panels and accumulators, which is... I've got the solar panels and accumulators on me. The cliff explosives is annoying, but is fixable. I don't know why I say it like that. Is fixable. Mostly by going over here and picking up this barrel of cliff explosives that I should have probably done. So let's quickly do that. And talk about productivity modules as well. Level 1 productivity modules are kind of... they're a very small effect. I often don't bother with productivity modules until I am just going the whole hog on level 3 productivity modules and speed modules. I think that is objectively incorrect. It's just... I'm just going to bring as many as I can carry here because I want to put them in the base. Except I'm bored of moving those around now because my inventory is full. Productivity modules make your machines more productive. If you remember when we talked about mining and the productivity mining bonus, the productivity mining bonus makes it so that when your mining drills are going, you also have this productivity bar here. And our productivity is currently on 20% just from pure research, which are these ones here. Mining productivity plus 10%, we've only researched 2. The next one is locked behind purple and yellow science, and then the infinite one is locked behind space science, of course. So for every mining operation that we perform, we get 20% bonus. So for every 5 that we perform, we get a free one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get a free one. With 30%, it would be obviously 3 and a bit, and so on. All the way up to, you know, you can go over 100% so that you're actually getting more bonus ones than you are getting real ones. And that carries over all the way through to the productivity modules. You can actually have that effect yourself and place it in assemblers and, most importantly, science labs. Doing it with science labs is obviously very handy, because if we go over there now, I didn't get new headphones, I got new ear pads for my headphones. Why has military science stopped? Stopped because stone bricks have stopped. Why have stone bricks stopped? Stone has stopped. Why has stone stopped? I got rid of a power pole here that has just shut everything this side down. Excellent stuff. I can fix that with roboports, in theory. Cannot build in fog of war. How dare you? Right, I'll fix that in a minute. I got new earphones. Ear pads. The ear muff bit of the headphones. And they've created a bit more of a vacuum around my ear than the previous ones. These ones are leather, or at least pleather. The older ones were fabric. So these are creating sort of like a weird suction cup effect around my ears. So I don't hear my voice coming out of my mouth as much as I hear it reverberating in my skull. And it's kind of awkward. That was me drinking a bit of coffee there, and also checking that I'm not muted. So when you productivity module level 1, if we have a look at this here, it increases the energy consumption by 40% for each module you put in, and it also lowers the speed, but it increases the productivity and the pollution. Productivity up 4% for each one, pollution plus 5%, i.e. not playing with pollution. If you don't have the biters on, there's no reason to play with pollution, especially in the vanilla game. And obviously, if you don't have pollution on, that's fewer computations that your game has to be doing about the pollution cloud moving around. So that's fine. The productivity plus 4% is important. So if we look at this, the bonus production is... That's not 4% total, that is, the bar is 4% full. The actual productivity bonus is 8% over here, because we have 2 level 1 modules in. So 8% is not nothing, right? So that is, you know, 8 over 100 is going to be what? 80, 96, about 12. For every 12 science packs that we use, we get 1 free. You buy 12, you get 1 free. That's a very British joke that I don't think anyone else is going to get. So if we just quickly use the rate calculator here, a normal science lab is actually going to consume, currently, I mean, as I've explained before, each research is ever so slightly different, the time needed and the amount needed, you know, 30, 30, 30, 60, 60, 30, 60. Some of them are 45 even, this one's 45 for some reason, you know. We lose the speed. The research speed is currently 2.16 because we have other speed researchers, so it's less worrisome to slow your research down. But it also makes no odds to slow your research down because there's no output with the science that your factory is running, you know, your factory is reliant on further down the line. You just add more labs. Just add more labs. Doesn't matter that they're slower, just add more. Sure, you're going to use more power. But power is, you know, eventually... Labs, here we go. Over 10 hours. So there was a massive spike here with labs when something happened. But, you know, for the most part, 5.6 megawatts, that's, you know, not much at all. It's 10% of what we're currently doing. It'll be less than that once everything's kicked off, because, as I say, we're not getting any oil or stone into the base because of this very small error here that I made. So the speed is slower the more modules you put in. So 4.8 per minute with no modules, 4.56 per minute with one, and 4.32 per minute with two. But the productivity makes up for that, especially with labs, as I say, especially with labs, because you just build more labs. Labs are cheap, and you're scaling your factory to the amount of science you're producing per minute. So now that all of our labs have an 8% productivity bonus, not only are we making however many it is currently, I want to say 150? No, 90. It would be 150 when we get the Mark III assemblers. It's currently 90, but we can add 8% on top of that. 90 times 8% equals 90 plus 8% equals 97.2. And that's only with Mark 1 modules, you know, an extra 8% per minute, sure, great. Mark 2 modules, they are... The reason why Mark 1 modules are probably worth using, and I probably should get used to using them early, is that they are relatively cheap. Mark 2 modules then just, they starts getting a bit silly at that point. You can see the difference here in the raw ingredients, and not only in the raw ingredients, in the raw time. One productivity module, 5 red, 5 green circuits, sure, not too bad. Productivity modules 2s, 4 of the original ones, which take 15 seconds each anyway, and then 5 more red and 5 more blue circuits. We haven't done blue circuits yet. Blue circuits are extremely reliant on green circuits, like 20 electronic circuits just to make one processing unit, plus the 4 that you're putting into the red circuits in the first place. If we started building processing units now, we would run out of green circuits within about 4 nanoseconds, I would imagine. Like, this is just not a lot. Processing units are a huge bottleneck in the base, and I'm going to go and fix it. Am I still out of solar panels? That's outrageous. Interestingly, these got done, because then this RoboPort allows this one to be built. So it is really only one corner that needs to be done, but that would be ugly. So I'll go and fix that, don't worry, I'll fix that off camera. That can be one of my off camera things to do. Speed modules work in much the same way, but they just add speed, and Mark 1s add 20%. So if you put a speed module in an assembly machine Mark 2, your crafting speed of 0.75 then also gets a 20% bonus. I really thought that that wouldn't be a problem removing this power pole, but there we go. Alright, everything's kicked back into gear now. Could do with the radar there, couldn't I? Alright, stone's coming back. It's good. It's all good. It's all fine. I'll talk about modules a bit more once we talk about beacons, because there's also an item that you can place that transmits the effect of modules over to any buildings in its catchment area. But for now, basically, I'm just going to use prod modules in stuff, especially labs. I may put them in the processing unit ones, I don't know. I mean, being able to get 8% productivity on 20 electronic circuits is big. The important thing also to note is that productivity modules can only work in items in this tab, in the intermediate products tab. That you can't actually put them in... Yes, you can. That's not true, because they are an intermediate product. I could put them in here as well, and then you start to get chain of effects. You get 8% out of this bonus, and then 8% into this bonus, and then what if you put the bonus in the iron plate ones? So you're getting more iron plate productivity, and then more electronic circuit productivity, and it just shifts on further down the line. What I meant to say was, is you can't get it on things like in these tabs. So you can't make more belts. You can't have the output do you more belts, or more stone bricks, or more landfill, you know? But yes, in labs definitely. The issue is with the labs is that if I put these two in here, I've kind of built them to ratio, and now they're going to be all out of whack. because the crafting speed debuff is not so bad with your labs, because obviously you're researching lab research speeds anyway, and there are quite a few of them that you get quite early on. So if we go into our bonuses tab up here, our research speed is already 140%, so adding a few prod modules is not a huge issue. But when your crafting speed is already less than 1 on this, and you add 2 prod modules to it, you're also losing the 5% on each, and that's just level 1s. I mean, level 2s are going to take you 10%, level 3s I believe are 20%. You also can't use productivity modules on productivity modules themselves, which is also part of the reason why they are so resource hungry to create. Because then productivity modules 3 need red and blue circuits again, and then the productivity module 2. Here they are. So to make one productivity module 3 from raw ingredients would take you 31 minutes. Just to make one. So they need another 5 advanced circuits, another 5 processing units, and 5 productivity modules 2s. And the productivity modules 2s needed 4 productivity module 1s. So you're putting 20 of these into each prod module 1, into each prod module 3, and then all the processing units involved as well. It's just so resource hungry. But it is worth doing, because it's free resources, you know, it's free real estate. .gif-v. For now though, as I say, I've taken the starter base, and I'm just going to basically milk all of the resources I have from it to make prod module 1s while I can. They'll go in the labs, like they'll even go in miners. I'm not sure why you'd want to put them in a miner, because really you want your miners to go faster, not slower, for more stuff. And of course you could counteract the speed with a speed module. The speed detriment, you could do 1 prod and 1 speed. So the 5 speed you lose here, you gain back 20 speed there. There's lots you can do. Really, just for now, and for the purposes of this Overexplained series, I'm just going to be putting them in the labs, because it's just bonus. It's just free stuff when you put them in the labs, and you don't have to worry about ratios or anything like that. If it slows down so much, like if we do the rate calculator on the whole thing, 259 per minute. We're not making 259 per minute, but that's because we're also researching something that's a 30 per second once we get up to the big boy ones. Oh, why is this one 15? What's up with that? 60, you know, we can halve this. Still won't be making that much, but, you know, it's all gravy. You want it to look symmetrical at least. Like, I suppose I could remove the top and the bottom rows, but who cares at this point, you know? There's no downside to it. If they don't have enough science packs for them, they won't be using electricity. It doesn't cost me anything. Okay. I was gonna do... I was gonna move the solar panels and accumulators over. To do that, I'd need to move the batteries over first. Because then at least if I move that over, I can take these builds out of the starter base. And then more of the copper can go towards this bit down here, because you can see that that's the problem. The reason I wanted a small little supply of productivity processing units is because I want to build the power armor or just the power armor, I suppose, which has a bigger grid. It's 7x7 as opposed to 5x5, which is what we're using, and in fact we have done enough of that, but I will leave it for now. Last time I talked about whether you put engine units on the bus, and it was an interesting conversation. At least I thought it was. And today I thought we could have the same conversation about batteries. Do you want to put batteries on the bus, or do you want to make them locally on demand wherever batteries are required, wherever good batteries are sold. Let's go into FNEI, shall we, and have a look. Batteries are needed in a mere 5 things in the entire game. Accumulators. You need accumulators on demand. You need accumulators in decent numbers, because 100 needs to go into the satellite, and the satellite is hugely important when it comes to making the last science pack, space science. Other than that, you just plop them down. But, you still want a lot of accumulators, so fair enough. Personal batteries, you just kind of make some personal batteries and then you're done with it. So, batteries on the bus for that, debatable. I mean, personal batteries go into personal battery marks 2s. You do need 10 of those to make one of these. These are 1x2 in your modular armor, so you end up making about maybe 10 of these. Even more if I add the mod for Power Armor Mark 3, which I might do, because I always find Power Armor Mark 2 just slightly underscaled for my needs. Flying robot frames, of course, we've talked about those in great length basically the entire time we've been playing. They're needed for the robots and of course for utility science. Laser turrets we won't need, personal roboports we will make some of, and then we'll be done with them. So really it's just the accumulators and the flying robot frames. They're also quite annoying to make. I mean, not really. Like, they need a fluid and then iron and copper. And take 4 seconds to craft. 1. I personally like to put them on the bus. I don't know why. You need 5 for accumulators. An accumulator takes... accumulator takes 5... No, that's a battery. That's a satellite, sorry. An accumulator takes 10 seconds to make. And you need 5 batteries. A battery takes 4 seconds to make. Making them locally, it can just be awkward, because then you've got to ship fluids in. Shipping fluids in is annoying most of the time. What I would rather do is I would rather just use this space here, and I know the sulfuric acid is just going up and then it's going to come back down. I suppose I could use another pump here actually and just pump some of the sulfuric acid across here, and then just bring the iron and the copper down, and then there's just batteries on the bus, and then everything else that needs batteries afterwards. Accumulators, we don't have to worry about... That's the research. You don't have to worry about shipping the fluid in. Like, there's an argument to be made that, well, if batteries need iron, then what's the problem in moving iron, copper and sulfuric acid all at once to just make accumulators? And that's fine, that's understandable. The problem is though, when you get to this, if we're not busing engine units, then we should bus at least the other one, because if we have to make engine units on demand and batteries on demand, we'd need to ship in both sulfuric acid and lubricant. I'm all for taking engine units off the bus, because as I say, they only go into... I've totally confused myself here with this UI. I'm all for taking these off the bus, because, yeah, electric engine units, sure, that's really the only thing that you need them for once you've put them into science packs. Batteries, on the other hand, slightly more awkward. I'm going to make them. I'm going to make them right here, and it's going to be easy. And I'm going to sneeze. I'm about to sneeze. Watch out for a sneeze. It hasn't happened. I need to look at the sun. Oh no, it's cloudy. My photic sneeze reflex. How many batteries do we need? That is a good question. That is a very good question. If we're putting them on the bus, it doesn't really matter. That's the other thing about the bus. Is that it kind of like just lets you not worry about it. Let's just start with 1. Find out how much 1 belt. 4 second crafting time. 15 a second would be a yellow belt. 1 every 4 seconds would be 4 to make 1 a second. So then that would be 60 to make 15 a second. 60 is too many. Let's go with 6. Let's go with a little. We can always scale it up. Like, this is the thing, right? It doesn't matter. I paved over this extra space here. You can see the landfill has turned the ground into the darker brown, which also means you can copy and paste it in a way that you can't do with land or with water. So you could like have a blueprint for a big chunk of landfill, which is sometimes a good idea. If you landfill where a water pump is, it turns into a water well pump with slightly different visual design, which you can't really see because they're at a different angle. Have I got one that's at the right angle? No, they're all pointing upwards. Ah, there we go. I suppose that's, you can see it. You can see that it's different. I trust you to believe that. So you don't have to necessarily worry about landfilling over where your pumps are. The issue is that if I ever delete this in error, it will be gone. The land beneath it will not have a hole for the water. It will just have gone away. The water is just gone. I will add the water fill mod. I know I keep saying that, but I'm not going to do it until it's absolutely necessary, just to show you that it is manageable without it. You can play the game without the water fill mod. It's only really when you start getting to nuclear power that things become outrageous, because you need to pump so much water in for that. A lot of people, if they don't want to use the water fill mod, is they put their nuclear power plants on the water, so they just landfill around, so they'll have like a bit here, and then all the nuclear power plants will be in such a way that, you know, the water is here, and the nuclear power plants are here, and then the heat exchangers go over with a small bit of landfill, you know, like. And if you don't know anything about nuclear power, that was all gibberish, but alright, anyway, batteries, some batteries, a quick bit of batteries. I don't know why I'm bothering to build it, because I have a perfectly serviceable build here, like this. This is only 4, and it was already not really keeping up with just the starter base. Because, well, mostly because I wanted loads of accumulators on demand, so. Ah, you can't flip a blueprint with a chemical plant. I really would have liked this to be the other way. Alright, I will build it from scratch. You got me. You got me. Where'd my chemical plant go? There it is. I'm useless at this game, by the way, if you've not worked that out yet. Batteries. So I can just start, even if I don't have the things in my inventory, I can just start building with Ghost designs, because I know that my robots will bring stuff in. And it says entities are missing the material for construction, and that's just because there is a physical amount of time that it takes the game to scan. Because the construction area is quite large, it takes a moment for the game to actually just scan new things that have been put down, and then go, do I have a robot for this? Yes. Do I have the inventory for this? Yes. Alright, that's fine then, send it out. This is your old standard 1 fluid. This is working, yeah. 1 fluid, 1 belt Majesty, which I enjoy building quite a lot. Alright, and so then this can go. It's kind of awkward, isn't it? It's fine. Didn't actually check if this was in the right place. It's not, is it? Of course not. Why would it be in the right place? Why would I have put that in the right place? Like, either of these would have been fine. Oh. There we go. And I'll leave 2 spaces for the pump, And I'll need to power this pump now. I might just get rid of this one and put a substation here instead to power everything. Do I put a rule on this to only pump when... No, if anything I should put a rule on this to not pump until batteries are sorted. It doesn't really matter, truth be told. This water is really in the way, isn't it? It's quite frustrating. Let me move this again, just so that this bill can go through the middle here like this. Right, yeah, okay, sure. And then... how many did I say? I can't remember. 4... 6... Let's go with 10. There's one every 4 seconds, right? So now we're getting 10 every 4 seconds. Yeah. Batteries are an intermediate product. You could, in theory, add prod module 1s to these. Seeing as I talked about that in this episode, I should at least... Tank is finished. Tanks are good. They drive very slowly, but they don't take any damage from trees. They just flatten trees. I did build a flamethrower and some flamethrower ammo. I think I set a big chunk of trees on fire at one point. Yeah, brilliant. Look at me. I'm capitalism. Capitalism. It's closer. It didn't. The fire will damage anything that is near it, including robots. If you send robots into the fire, unsurprisingly, they will take damage from that. They don't like it. They don't like fire. Okay. Quick single lane balancer here. The poor man single lane balancer, not the ridiculous overscaled single lane balancer. This is going the wrong way. Right, so this needs to be iron and sulfur. This is input. This is input. Sorry, this is output. Where on the bus are these bad boys going? I rearranged my bus. Actually, I forgot to mention that. I did take steel down to 1 lane. This is the ridiculous single lane balancer. So then 4 iron, 4 copper, enough space for plenty of green. This does look cramped, but this is in fact still 4 lanes. That just some of them will have to, you know, go around the roboport, but that's fine as long as you leave the 2 space gap in the middle for the belt, underground belts to work. 1 steel, 1 coal, 1 bricks, 1 stone. There is a space here, but because the pylons are here, I tend to never use the middle, the ones in the way of the pylons. That might be incorrect, but I just leave a space. It ends up looking a bit ugly, truth be told. So these 4 are just nothing. Liquids. So then I've got 1 lane of sulfur. I will probably need 2 lanes of plastic going forwards. I can't remember. So if I do 2 lanes of plastic and then I can put batteries there. Definitely 2 lanes of reds. I tend to do 4 green, 2 reds, 1 blue. That tends to be enough, especially when you start building loads of modules. So let's put batteries here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 there. Let's put batteries here, shall we? I don't think I've forgotten anything. I will need a lane of just raw iron ore, which is always something very frustrating that when you forget about it. Because raw iron ore goes into concrete. So it makes obviously the iron plates, but also you need raw iron ore and bricks to go into concrete, and you need concrete for centrifuges, which are to do with uranium processing, we hadn't even touched upon. Nuclear reactors, which you will need on demand. They'll go in the mall, but they need 500 concrete. And obviously they go in the rocket silo, and they need 1,000 concrete. So you will need something to make concrete, and then obviously concrete goes. You can put concrete on the ground in the same way you can put bricks on the ground. They look nicer. Concrete looks nicer than bricks, and they have a better walk speed bonus, which is obviously not hugely important, but, you know, why not, eh? Why not? So, sulfur and iron coming this way, so I need half a belt of sulfur. Ugh, one tile off, of course. Half a belt of sulfur, and then the iron pops out there like that. Whoops. That's quite convenient actually, because I'm currently, and I'm going to say it again, so get ready to laugh, I'm currently pulling off of all 4 lanes of the bus here on this grid square. So there's a balancer here, the first lane goes off this way, the second lane goes off to make military science, the third lane goes off to make the engine units, and then the fourth lane goes downward to make the batteries. So then, as long as I put another balancer here in the start of the next grid section, that's all good. And we should start seeing batteries any moment now, as long as I hook this up to a power supply. I really don't see. I mean, this of course works. Single lane balancer. This lane goes here, and then comes out here. Half of it goes this way, and the other half of it gets dropped onto this belt. This lane goes here and then stops dead because it can't get through that. So then that means all of the outside lane goes this way, drops onto this half of the underground, comes here, and half of it goes here and half of it goes here and gets dropped on there like this. And then this lane obviously just stops as well. I mean, this is the counterpart to the blue on the other side. So what this is doing is it's just only balancing, can't undo more than that, it's only balancing the left hand lane of this belt and the right hand side goes this way. So when you plug a single lane in here, that's what's happening. The blue, the left hand lane goes this way, and the red, the right hand lane goes this way. This one, the blue, the left hand lane goes this way and drops there, and then on this side it drops there, and the right hand lane, the red, goes this way and goes here, which actually stops the blue one in some cases if this red lane is full, but then does the opposite on this side. That actually drops there, not where I drew it, and there. This just looks messy and complicated to me. This just looks like, oh, single lane balancer, sweet. Batteries? Hello? It's not sulfur, it's copper. God damn. It's sulfuric acid, not actual sulfur. That one's on me, folks. That one's on me. That's really annoying. On the plus side, this is now a bit neater. It's an easy fix. I just have to now pick up all of this sulfur and hope that I have room in my inventory for it, and then find somewhere to put it all. These things happen. But you can see there, I mean, it's a testament to the design of the bus, really, that it was such an easy fix. If you've got spaghetti-based stuff going on, then that becomes a lot harder to deal with. But that's me, because I'm bad at the game, and it's early in the morning. It's not that early in the morning, but you know. And I haven't had my coffee yet. Ha ha ha. Hooray, batteries! So now that batteries are on the bus, it will be a simple case of just making a modest solar panel and accumulator build. I'm going to bust those as well, because they need to go into satellites, and obviously I just want them in quantities for this. So this will be sorted. I'll change the design of this. And the last thing I will do here before I call this an episode is I will go and quickly build the power armor now that I have the processing units stockpiled. Where is my car? And I already built some extra stuff for that, so I can just slot that in and show you it. How is power doing now that everything is working as expected? Lots of power on electric mining drills. You see labs of, labs are working at capacity. Because military science, you might look at this and go, oh no, military science is not making enough. It is making enough. It's because it wasn't working, so all the other sciences got backed up. If we go into our production and we just search for pack, which shows us all the science packs, military science is 90 per minute. The other ones are lower now because there was a backlog, and obviously if there's a backlog, it doesn't need to make as many until that backlog is sorted. 90 per minute is of course our target, and we are hitting that consistently at over 10 minutes, so that's how we know everything is fine. And the consumption is obviously always going to be the same for all of these, because that's how the science packs work. They're either consuming them or they're not consuming them. I suppose it's not exactly how it works, because you might be researching a science that doesn't necessarily need military packs or something, but you know. The trees scared me. The trees scared me. I should have just driven this way. Yep, just hit that log. Just drive over the tracks with reckless abandon. Oh my days. Why did I come this way? Right, that's good enough for me. Alright, I need 40 of these. And now I can make a power armor. I can take my existing power armor, remove everything from it by just clicking an empty space in the exact same way you do with a chest. I can unequip it. I can... Whoa, look at all the military science that we've researched. Crazy. And we won't need any of it. The power armor has equipped itself because I had an empty slot in my armor space, and it's finished. And now we have a nice 7x7 grid. So we'll go with 4 roboports instead of 2. So now we can hold 40 robots. That's good. 6 batteries, possibly 7 would have been fine. And then we'll fill the rest of that with solar panels. I had 3 batteries before, so I'll double up the batteries. I'll just put a bit of extra solar power in there. Twice the robots. Double the robots, double the fun. That's what I say. That's my motto. Right, and now I can hold 40. So we're good. It's all good. There is a robot that I left over here. It tried to repair something and then it's interesting that I added the robots. What I think has happened here is that I added the robots to my inventory, and so now my personal roboports are full. And that robot must have just gone back to the global network. It went, right, I'm free, finally. I never really considered that before. It's night time, so I can't show you 40 robots working in glory. When you take personal batteries out, they discharge fully, which I suppose is just a limitation of the game, that it can't just remember the power of a battery, each individual battery. Or it probably could, but it would be a waste of time. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching. I talked briefly about modules. As I say, I'll talk more about modules in the future when we get beacons and it becomes more relevant. And we did batteries and we talked about some other interesting stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Batteries is already full, that's good, that's what we like to see. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more Factorio, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, I'm just preemptively stretching, despite the video not being over yet. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.